Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to actually do a guide. It's been a while since I've done any guides on this channel, so I'm going to teach you guys what fuzzying is, how to do it, and when to apply it in matches. It is a little bit of a niche one that I'm going to teach you today. A lot of high level players do this, but it doesn't really get talked about that often. Or at least it doesn't really get talked about in the context of how do we do it and why do we do it. So I'm going to teach you 5 different examples of fuzzying. The examples that I've chosen for this are going to be examples that you're going to want to use in game. I'm not just going to choose random ones that are going to be useless to you. However, this one I'm about to show you now is the only useless one, but it's just to show you what fuzzying is, okay? So what is fuzzying and why do we do it? Well, if we take a move or a string, if we take Heihachi's downward 1-1 and downward 1-2, you can see that one of the extensions is a high and one of them is a mid. Now for some strings or some moves with the same starting animation, if one extension is slower than the other, it means that what we can do is something called a fuzzy. So if I take another move with Heihachi, which will demonstrate this better, it will be his CD3. Now you see the mid comes out at 27 frames, right? And he jumps up off the floor and does the kick. Now he can do the same move which leads into a low, right? He jumps off the he jumps off the floor into a slide, okay? However, this comes out at 33 frames, right? 27, 33. This is really important because that difference in frames will actually allow us to do the fuzzy. Now what the fuzzy is, it'd be different for different examples, which I'm going to show you, which is why I'm going to show you multiple examples. However, in this case, what we want to do is we want to stand block until that mid would have hit us, because remember that mid comes out a lot quicker than the low. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand block, hold back, just until the mid would have hit us, and then do down back just in case he does the low version. And it will look like this. You can see on the command history, if you're looking, that I'm holding down back even after blocking the mid. You see? It basically covers both options I just messed up. This is not an easy mechanic to master. However, it is very, very effective if you want to avoid mix-ups like this. And you can see, unless I mess up, that I'll block it every single time, right? If you mess this up, it is a skill issue. It is difficult to do though. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it is something that if you take the time to practice against certain strings that you're having real trouble with, this will make a huge difference, believe me. So that is CD3. What I'm going to show you now is 5 different examples of fuzzying and show you different types of fuzzying. Fuzzying is a little bit weird in the sense of like the definition of the word, so I'm just going to try and explain this with examples, because it's not always going to be a mid-low, it's not always going to be stand block until they would have done the mid and then low block. So I'm just going to show you some examples, okay? And also these examples will be ones that you'll want to use in matches as well. I didn't want to choose any random ones that are going to be completely useless to you guys. So we're going to choose ones that are actually useful to know. So Lee has while standing 2, which can lead into 2 different extensions. One being the mid-mid, which I just showed you. One being the mid-high, which leaves him at -2 with some pushback. And remember that Lee has a back 4 counter hit. He has forward 3, which can lead into a heat dash combo. You know, from this distance, he can hit you with 1+2. The point I'm making is that you don't really want to let him get away with doing this and getting it as far away as he is, and doing a launcher as a mix-up, right? Because you'll want to duck that high. So what we do is this is actually the same concept of the Heihachi, except we're doing it with a mid-high. So what we're going to do is the same thing. We're going to stand block until the mid would have hit us, and then we're going to duck if the high is coming. I should have explained, my bad. We're going to talk about frames here very quickly. The extension comes out at 20 frames, and the extension for this one comes out at 27 frames. It's really important when you're learning this that you don't take the first move's frames. This does not matter. It's always going to be the extension because the extension... Oh my god, can I say the word extension? Okay, the extension is the thing that counts when it comes to being able to fuzzy something. Okay, so you saw the difference. 20 frames, 27 frames. So there's 7 frames difference in between those extensions. Apologies if this is getting a bit much information, but this is just the way it's got to be to explain this properly. So we're going to do the same thing. You can see on the command history, I'm holding down back in case he's going to do the high. See? And just after the mid would have hit us, I am always going to hold down back just in case. And it doesn't matter that I'm holding down back because I've already blocked the mid. I did mess it up there once. But as you can see, aside from that little fuck up at the end, this is completely fuzzyable. So feel free to use that one. It is useful against Lee because it means that he's not using a launcher as like a mix-up, you know. It's not a proper mix-up because it's not a low or a mid. However, it is something that you can fuzzy and puts you in a very advantageous position and gets Lee's afraid of doing that. Which is good for you, right? Okay, next we're going to move on to Fahkumram, and this is going to be a little bit weird, but it is good for you to know. So, Fahkumram has a down forward 1. It's slow, however, from this, he can do a lot of different extensions, right? He can do the homing high, which is +3 on block. He can do the charge stuff, whether that's charge, non-charge, homing. He can do this well. But the 2 extensions I actually want to talk about with Fahkumram's down forward 1 strings is actually the down forward 1 2, which comes out at the extension. Remember, we're talking about the extension comes out 27 frames. And the extension here comes out at 25 frames. This is a very small difference in frames, but I'm showing you this example to show that it is actually possible to fuzzy this. And it's a very strange fuzzy technique that you're going to do, which is why I've included this one as well. So we're going to record these both, and you'll be able to see that just by what we're going to do is do a very quick down back. It's going to look like this, essentially, okay? I'm going to time it. So because the mid comes out quicker, remember 25 frames as opposed to 27, what we're going to do is just before the high hits us, we're going to duck. And then we'll block the mid, okay? So it'll look like this. As you can see, does work. You can do the mid? Mid, please. There we go. And it is something that will be useful because these string variations have so many different extensions. It's useful to know this because it means the Fahkumram can't use this as like as freely as he might want to, right? Because this is very good. It's a really good whiff punish, 15 frame heat dash launcher. It's safe at -5, right? I mean, it's not that important, but it's still safe if you do this correctly. And the Fahkumram is now taking a risk and you're not. Because either way, you're still going to get up in time to block this or block this, right? Yes, you won't be able to sidestep this and all the rest of it. However, it is another option that will make your opponent afraid of doing their, you know, mix-ups, quote-unquote mix-ups, right? So there's something to think about with Fahkumram. Also, I wanted to use that as an example of a very strange fuzzy that you can... Do you see what I mean when I'm telling you it's quite hard to describe exactly what a fuzzy is in every single case? Because it can be quite different for different characters. Okay, now the third one I'm going to show you is one that you will definitely want to know. This is also very difficult to do. However, this will save your life a lot. I'm going to record the bot of Kazuya doing Hellsweep and forward 3. This is very difficult to do. However, if you can do it, it will really scare the Kazuya player. Here we go. So I've got the bot to do 2 wave dashes into forward 3 or Hellsweep. Okay, that's going to be the mix-up. Obviously, the Kazuya player can do any number of wave dashes into his mix-up. However, just for the purposes of this video, to make it easier to explain, we're not going to include... You know, he's going to do 5 wave dashes into Hellsweep now, and now he's going to do 3 wave dashes into forward 3, because it just won't, you know, It'll be easier to explain it this way, and it'll be quicker. Anyway, also, this is very difficult to do, by the way. So, you can actually fuzzy Kazuya's 50-50 by just ducking until you see that leg come up above his head, right? And then you can just let go of down back and just stand block again, right? We'll just let go of down back and hold back. So this is an example of staying crouched until you see the mid coming. So this is like actually kind of reacting slash fuzzying. However, because he's only doing 2, this covers fuzzying at the same time. If they only do 2 wave dashes, right, 2 crouch dashes before they do their mix-up, this is 100% fuzzyable every single time unless you're talking and you're trying to do it. It is quite difficult to do though. So be aware that this will take some practice. Just try getting used to, you know, try blocking the Hellsweep, which comes out at 16 frames, and then the forward 4-3 comes out at 20 frames. You have something to work with there. So you can either fuzzy it or you can actually react to this kick, but it is very, very tricky to do. But now you have something to make the Kazuya player very hesitant to run their mix-ups, right? They're 50-50. 50-50! Be aware though that if the Kazuya player is really, really good, instead of using this 50-50, they will actually do this and this. This is a true 50-50 because the Hellsweep comes out at 16 frames and the While Standing 2 comes out at 16 frames as well. I'm actually really surprised I did that first try. I'm pretty proud of that. And now I tried it again and I failed. That's nice. It's very satisfying to do that. I like doing that. Anyway, back to the video. So that's Kazuya's 50-50 fuzzyable. I've got Paul here. I want to show you another string that you can fuzzy. It is the forward 2 strings. He can do a mid-high here, which comes out, the extension comes out 15 frames, or he can do the mid-mid. This one is super easy to fuzzy. And this one is going to be really simple. And this is just duck and then stand back up. Right? You see? Really, really easy. Some of these, unless you mess it up, some of these are going to be a lot easier than others. The reason this is so much easier to do is because this one comes out at 15 frames. Remember, it's always the last extension of the move that we're looking at in terms of frames. 15 frames, 26 frames, right? That's like 11 frames difference. It's a huge difference, which means that when we're trying to fuzzy something, this becomes super easy to do. So you can see in the command history, it's still unclear. Oh, I messed up. You can see in the command history, after the first hit connects, or I block it, sorry, then I'm holding down back until the follow-up comes. This is much easier in terms of fuzzying something. I'm also going to show you one more, just to hammer this home. I'm going to show you Claudio WS1. This one is useful to know because the amount of that he actually gets from this is kind of insane. I'm going to show you how to fuzzy, and not many people know you can fuzzy this. Claudio's While Standing 1-1, which is mid-high, and knocks you down, right, on normal punish. Or he can do While Standing 1-2, which comes out significantly slower. So 20 frames, you see in the bottom left, 20 frames versus 28 frames. It's an 8-frame difference. So I'm going to record this very quickly, and we're going to do the same thing we did the other times. We're going to duck, very quickly get back up. Duck, and then go to stand block again. And you'll see that 100% of the time, if you're doing this correctly, you will avoid the high. Unless you're talking. I swear I have this curse when I'm recording. As you can see, you can't punish stuff if you react to it quick enough. You can't punish it. Punish. I'm going to try punishing these now. Just to show you that it is useful to know, right? Try one more time. Come on, Claudio. Do the high. Please. There we go. Even though you're fuzzying it, you might think, oh, I'm not going to be able to react in time to punish that. You can't. It's not that tricky. You have to learn the fuzzy, and then you will have to practice the fuzzy into the punish. So find some strings that you really struggle with. See if you can apply this fuzzying technique to it. It might save your life, you know? Make sure to look out for little things like this. A lot of the time in Tekken, the little things really do make the biggest difference. Try and find some strings that you're struggling with and see if you can apply this technique. That is also going to wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's a little bit of a niche one today, but hopefully you guys took something from this video. Trust me when I say that fuzzying is something that you, if you really want to get better at Tekken, it is something you're going to want to learn. So hopefully you learned something from this video. Hopefully I explained what fuzzying is well. If you did like the video, please do me a favor and leave a like. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new to the channel and you want to find your way back, hit the subscribe button down below. Also, I live stream over on Twitch, usually Monday to Friday from about 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. UK. Sometimes we go before or later, depending on the day. But if you want to ask me any questions over there, then feel free on Twitch. That's enough plugging from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take it easy, guys. Much love, and I will see you in the next one.